everyone, and welcome to another episode of LunarCRUSH Live. We are very excited today to have Chandler Song from Ankr here with us, visiting all the way from San Francisco, California. Chandler, how are you doing, my man?
Not too far away, I guess. Thanks, guys.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm great. My name's Chandler. Been working on Ankr for the past 3 years. Got into the space about 4 years ago. When I was still in the university, graduated and then got right into crypto. Love the space. Love building products, meaningful products, and very excited to have John Joe host this show. Thanks.
Yeah, of course, man. Thanks for coming on. So maybe we could dive right into that. So you went straight into crypto after university, after college. What got you hooked? Why did you make that jump right away? Because a lot of people, they struggle with that. They go into the workforce, they're trying to figure it out. Maybe they've got, parents or other people that are like, go work for Accenture, go start doing this. Why did you jump right into it?
Yeah. When I was in university, I first of all, I was majoring in computer science and statistics and also art history. This is my side hobby. But at the same time, joined a few university student clubs, including Blockchain Berkeley. Some clubs related to Bitcoin really got me into this space. And the summer of 2017, I was interning in Amazon in New York City, and I got into a Neo and Dash meetup in New York City. So it was a pretty fun experience. During the summertime, learned a lot about crypto, met some of the OGs in the space, and immediately after the internship, I actually joined Amazon for just a few months, and I decided to quit. It wasn't for me. I didn't have a lot of family pressure back then, so I thought, I'd try, and I had nothing to lose back then. So, yeah.
Love
That's
that.
awesome. Yeah, that's a good lesson for some people to understand risk. I think, what you have to gain by jumping into something head first, especially at a younger age versus what you have to lose. Starting young, you're going to learn more in 1 year than someone's going to learn, at a big corporate entity over 5 or 10 years. And so I think the more people that are out there, and I think our industry is allowing more people to do that and find their way. And it's inexpensive to start a business, especially in this space. It's global. There's customers everywhere. We were just chatting before you got on and saying that, you've got people distributed and the company's distributed, and it's the same with us with customers in 200 different countries. And so I think that's a great lesson.
Yeah, I think, the dynamic has shifted a little bit over the past few years. Back then, when I was starting my company, everybody wanted to be in Silicon Valley. They want to have a team. They want to have a dedicated team. They want to have their mentors. They want to have their investors in Silicon Valley. But I feel like right now, first of all, capital is still relatively concentrated in a few places like New York City, Silicon Valley, probably China, probably Europe. However, I feel like given the pandemic situation, everybody is working remotely. And this gives us a lot of opportunity to hire almost everywhere. And, there are talents everywhere, Eastern Europe, India, China, Southeast Asia, South America, Africa. There are, plenty of opportunities. So it's also a great way for us to strengthen our culture. I think, we're learning from different cultures. We're learning from different people. So it's a great experience so far. And right now we are 70 people strong as a team.
Wow.
Distributed in 15 countries. Been doing this, not because of the pandemic, but relatively started earlier in 2019 when we realized, when I was doing some meetups in Europe, in Germany, in Netherlands, and I got to know a lot of community people, and they are very knowledgeable, in my opinion. And we got to know them a little bit better, and eventually decided to have them join as team members.
It's interesting hearing you talk about this, because one of the things that we were so surprised by when we launched LunarCRUSH.com was just how global the audience is. And I was just looking actually last week, and we have users in 203 countries, and I can't even name that many. And it's amazing to see that. And if you don't have a distributed team in our space, you're actually not doing yourself any favors, because most of the world's awake while you're sleeping here in San Francisco or in Los Angeles. And it becomes, it's kind of interesting hearing you say that. We just hired Anne-Sophie, and she's in Hamburg, Germany. And,
I mean, I'm pretty involved in the product side, and at Ankr, we've been using Mixpanel and Google Analytics to learn how our audiences are interacting with our product. And it's just amazing that some countries that haven't been very active on the tech map is showing up, right? It is quite amazing, actually.
Yeah, I mean, like you'd expect Europe, but then you look all over places like Africa, and you look at all over Eastern Europe, right? And it's surprising. It's very surprising.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to let's get a little bit into the product and Ankr, and we had a question here, which is like, let's just start with explaining like what is Web3 for people, and I think it's like getting people over the hump of blockchain and cryptocurrency, and for you guys, there's a lot of infrastructure in what you're building. So like, just explain to people like, what is Web3? Why does it matter?
Yeah, I mean, this is something I have been thinking about for the past years. I think Web3 is eventually going to be an extension of Web2, our existing internet. I think we added a layer of privacy. Probably we added a layer of trustlessness. We added a layer of security on top of what we are building. For example, a very simple example is you are effectively using MetaMask as a Web3 extension to your Chrome browser, and it's not really interfering with what you are already doing, but when you needed it, it is very effective. So I think that is how I think about what Web3 really is. And I think eventually Web3, in order to be in mass population, I think it needs to the tech eventually needs to phase out as if it's not existent, so that people don't feel about it. They don't feel about they're actually utilizing a blockchain when they're using a product. So yeah. And in terms of Ankr, what Ankr is doing, we are really, really focused on Web3 infrastructure in general, this topic. And the reason why we're bullish on this sector is that we learned, first of all, we learned how Amazon Web Service got up to where it is right now. And it is amazing that they are able to support the current Web2 stack pretty well. And we want to be one of the leaders in Web3 infrastructure. We started out with building Algorand nodes. This is actually a pretty funny story. Back in 2018, when Algorand first started, we looked at their white paper, and we got some investors looking to host Algorand nodes. So our first product was to host Algorand nodes, their relay nodes for a lot of investors. And then we realized there was actually a business going on. We started out with Zilliqa. We started out with some other public blockchains. So right now, what Ankr is, is that we really have two products. One is more of a enterprise-focused product where we help startups, project teams, and a little bit, small to medium size enterprises to build their Web3 stack, to help them host nodes, to help them query data from the blockchains. Another is, what we're currently working on, and it's about to launch actually in about 2 days, 1 day, 2 days. It is a permissionless Web3, fully Web3 based decentralized staking protocol. We call it Staker. We took out the A and the E. We called it STKR. And
we're there.
Yeah. So we actually joke about this. We took out the A and E, which stands for Ankr and Ethereum. So for the first iteration of the product, we are solely focused on Ethereum staking. It's getting very, very close to us. I think it's about to launch in December 1st. It is one of the most important network upgrades ever, I think, in blockchain history. And I think it is, to me, Ethereum 2.0 is a really a realization of crypto being a commodity to crypto being a bond. By staking with Ethereum, you're effectively able to gain the coupon value, which is the staking reward. Even though the rewards are not paid annually, they are paid effectively after phase 2.5, and but you're able to get the staking rewards in two years, and then after that it will be based on immediate maturity of those rewards. So I think it's a pretty fun experience building it. What we are doing is like we're finding the pain points of Ethereum 2 staking. We basically divided our customer portfolios into two groups. One is the large holders, institutional players who have a tremendous amount of Ethereums, and their pain point is they do not have the time or energy to manage all of their infrastructures. And for Ethereum, you have to have 32 Ethereum in order to become a validator. But over exceeding that amount will earn you the same amount of rewards. So say, if you have 32 Ethereum, effectively 10,000 Ethereum will earn you the same reward if you stake with one validator. So to maximize your rewards, you actually need to do 30. So you have to spin up 33 validators. So this is definitely a pain point for a lot of enterprises and or organizations. We do that. We have a staking manager function, which automatically, you only have to input 10,000 Ethereum in order to get code started. Another portfolio that we identified is the relatively ordinary users, and not everybody is owning 32 Ethereum right now. We definitely understand that, and we have this function called Micropool, which allows many people, actually unlimited people, to join a micropool together to make up the 32 Ethereum. Of course, our staking minimum will be 0.5 Ethereum, which I think is already really friendly to a lot of people in different countries. And you're able to split the rewards given the ratio of this micropool that you own, and you will be earning the staking reward. And a pain point to all of those customer portfolio will be the staking liquidity, which means during this time between phase 0 and phase 2.5, you're not able to liquidate your Ethereum because the transfer function is not live on Ethereum beacon chain. And we have this function, this bond-like Ethereum. We call it AETH or Ankr ETH. Basically, as soon as you deposit 32 Ethereum into our protocol, we will put those 32 Ethereum into the Ethereum deposit contract, and we will give you 32 Ethereum. That represents your staking shares. It's like a bond. So effectively, a Ethereum will increase in price over time because it's your original stake plus your staking rewards over time.
So you're creating liquidity for the folks that are essentially locked up into that 2-year contract when the bonding curve goes from 22% to like 9%.
Correct. So I think this is very useful. I think I've been hearing a lot of discussions in the community saying that DeFi is the largest competitor to Ethereum because people don't want to put their Ethereum into Ethereum 2.0. They only want to play with DeFi. While I agree to some extent, I do not agree fully. I think by doing this, by staking with our protocol, you're able to not only enjoy the staking rewards from Ethereum 2.0, but with Ethereum, you're able to, if there's theoretically enough liquidity, you're actually able to reparticipate into those DeFi protocols when you have those Ethereum on your hand.
Well, it's interesting because you're talking about a couple of different types of investors and talking about people maybe internationally or people that are like, only have 0.5 ETH or 1 ETH that want to participate in this. And then there's kind of this gap up to, I mean, looking at like a normal institutional investor, if they're going to buy some sort of like municipal bond, which is like essentially like Ethereum is so big now that like, it's like, is that going to go away in 2 years? Like suddenly Ethereum is just going to be gone, right? Like that's just the risk of that has gone down so much that offering 21% to lock your investment up for 2 years is like nothing to a lot of big time investors. So it's like the balance between those people and the balance between someone else that's like, you know what, I'm not going to lock up my $500. I need that. I want to be able to bounce it around. So you're trying to kind of play to both markets, which I think is really smart, and you guys are the ones that have the ability to do that.
Yeah, I think, in terms of long-term roadmap, staking is of course one of the, the thing that we focus on. But at the end of the day, we are a marketplace of providers and node requesters. So we've only just covered the node requester part, the people who want to stake Ethereum, but we didn't really mention the provider side. We are actually a staker protocol. What's very interesting about staker protocol is it's a marketplace. We as a company do not really own those nodes. We do not run the nodes. We help facilitate a marketplace. I think there's ultimately a gap in the Ethereum community is that the majority of those Ethereum holders are not actually developers, or they're not technical driven. And we want to get everybody into this game by having the technical people running nodes for the people who own Ethereum. Having the people who own those servers or have the ability to make their own infrastructure with, and match them with people who want to run nodes. And one of the features that we are going to have is that, of course, Ankr is all about Web 3.0. And if you are interested in becoming a provider on Staker, you can actually run a Ethereum 2.0 node on Ankr Enterprise app, but it's not required. It's fully optional. So that if you're really not technical and you want or you're somewhat technical, you can go you can go through all of our documentations and then become a Staker validator, Staker provider on Staker through Ankr. That's a little bit complicated.
Yeah, no, that's good. I think John's got a question.
No, I lost my mind.
So many different questions.
It's early. Well, I mean, I'm just trying to think of Staker here. So and we've been looking at ETH 2.0 here. So 32 Ethereum required. I think we heard that Vitalik put 32,000 in or something. 3,200. I don't remember the number.
3,200. Yeah, 3,200.
3,200. Yep. 3,200. And are you just saying that your Ethereum gets locked up for until 2.5 is out? Is that what you're saying? So put your money in.
So we're looking into early 2022, late 2021 ish.
And so does someone that's staking, are they going to get those rewards along the way, or do they get no rewards until that happens?
So their rewards, I think we are learning a lot from this DeFi summer. That a governance system is definitely needed. So when Staker is launched, we are going to have a governance system in place so that people who own Ankr tokens are able to make decisions on the protocols. They're able to tweak metrics. They're able to tune parameters. They're able to make proposals that are benefiting the protocols in general. So we are effectively, providing a blank sheet for the community to write on, right? So, so back to your question, right? So, do we distribute staking rewards along the way? Currently, no, because what you're really earning is the B Ethereum, which is the beacon chain Ethereum. You're able to redeem. It's actually a balance showing on the Staker protocol. you only have the liquidity for your original stake, but your increase in staking rewards is actually already shown on the price of the A Ethereum, because we have everything, we actually calculate the entire pool rewards and then divide it into the total validator numbers. So the price of your staking rewards is already, your staking rewards is effectively already calculated in the price of the A Ethereum. But if you sell your A Ethereum, for example, if you get 32 A Ethereum, you sell to somebody else, but somebody else is able to redeem those A Ethereum once phase 2.0 is live, and you're not able to. So
I see. Cool. And is Staker going to move beyond Ethereum into other staking?
Yeah. So I think I've been looking at a couple of things. First of all the Ethereum-based staking. We are looking at Chainlink. We're looking at Matic.
Yep.
For example, I know they're not protocol level staking, but they rely on Ethereum to generate a validator. And we're looking to how those Ethereum-based protocol, how can we support those? Second, we're looking at Binance Smart Chain. They are EVM compatible. They also have a smart contract. We're looking at how we are able to support Binance Chain and potentially BNB staking in the future. I think I've been talking with their tech team, and they are potentially looking to have BNB staking, in the upcoming years on the protocol level.
So what you're saying though is it's a lot. I mean, a lot of this is based around Ethereum. We're not looking at like a Tezos or a Zilliqa or any of these other projects. This is mainly around Ethereum.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, good to clarify. Great. Joe, do you have something you want to ask?
No, I froze a little bit.
Oh.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of switch it up just a little bit. And, I think you said there were about 40 or 50 different nodes that people could spin up on Ankr. What's the number up to now?
So we support, you can actually categorize those nodes into two nodes. One is more focused on staking, validator node or delegator node. There are different types of names. Another category would be the developer node, which we call it full node. It's one of those nodes people can query data from. So currently we are serving north of 100 enterprise clients. They are DeFi projects. Some of them are very well known. They are data analytics companies. They are cryptocurrency exchanges. They are wallet providers. So we have those enterprise clients utilizing some of our Ethereum APIs, Binance Chain APIs, whatnot. And
how many are there? Like, is there, like you talked about Zilliqa, and I mean, how many different blockchains can people work with through Ankr?
We currently work with close to 40 blockchains with close to 100 node types, different types of nodes. Yeah.
Gotcha. And so, I mean, it's kind of in line with what we do with adding different projects. And, during the DeFi craze, it was like 50, 20 different projects, like add my project. And, there's only a certain amount that you can handle at a time. I mean, for you guys, it's a little bit more of a process probably to decide, who do we add and why do we add them?
Exactly. I think this is where we draw similarities. When we look at the blockchain, first of all, we look at their community, right? Just like you guys do. We look at their social engagement, how many people are actually willing to run a validator or earn staking rewards on the public blockchain, right? We look at their overall documentation. Are they meaningful documentation that can make us make the product, the node, go live without interacting too much with the team? And if so, we're going to proceed. So been doing some of the research in a lot of projects. I think Harmony is doing good. I really like Near protocol. We just made their node live as of yesterday. Avalanche is also doing pretty good. They actually have a large cap of validators, but I think a lot of those protocols, those blockchains. One thing that they're different from Ethereum is that majority of those blockchains have a limited amount of validators that they are able to take on their protocol. Sorry, I think there's constructions.
All right, we can barely hear it. They're just the joys of home.
All right. Okay.
Hopefully, you don't have to like escape the building or anything. It's
this
crazy.
This rarely happens in my building because it's a relatively old building from the late 90s. Interesting. So people actually rarely move in or move out.
That's what you want.
But
I'm glad that's all it is. I thought bees were attacking you. That's good.
Yeah. So where was I?
I think we were just kind of talking about the community and how we're kind of assessing people and like, so maybe you can say, you don't have to like call out too many projects, but like what makes a really good project up to you guys where you're like, this community is solid. There's a lot of wallets. There's a lot of people involved. I mean, without, like you said, without having to potentially talk to the team directly.
Yeah, I think what makes a good project, of course, the team will be very important, right? What they're doing. Their continuation in their projects, their willingness to accept criticism, their willingness to accept challenges. Of course, that is very important. Of course, they also have to be very technical driven, but at the same time, we look at their social channels and we use some of your analytics. To be honest, their social channels, their Twitter accounts, their Telegram account to see, if people are actually, only caring about the price of the token, right, or are they really, genuinely interested in running a validator or getting involved with their technology, right? So I think that's the number one and number two metric that we care about. Sorry, I'm going to mute myself.
No, we can't even hear it. It's fine. It's fine. So you're talking a lot about, is there depth? Not just people calling tomorrow's price target and drawing lines on charts. It's more like, is there actually a use case here? So I'm curious to hear you talk about what are those use cases that excite you guys? Like someone wants to spin up a node to do what? Like what are some of the things that you're excited about?
Excuse me.
Hopefully it's not just someone with like a circular saw. They just started a construction project. Like
we could just pull up some Ankr stats up while Chandler's muted if you want.
No, I think I'm back. I'm back.
All right. Okay.
Sorry. Can you repeat your question?
Yeah. So you see all this activity going, right? And you guys get excited by the depth versus just price speculation. Mm-hmm. What are some of the things that excite you guys? Like, what are those use cases for? I've seen in our feed here and in our questions. There's lots of questions about Polkadot, for example. So like, if you were to look at Polkadot, you would see a lot of social depth, a lot of social engagement. It's very, very high. We've seen it continually high. But what would excite you about what people want to do with it?
I think, the original idea of Polkadot having parachains, I think they're meant to be, another layer on DeFi or what we are experiencing right now. I think the first use cases when it comes to parachain is to potentially mint synthetics assets on Polkadot and then through different chains. And we've had I've seen a pretty good amount of staking liquidity projects using Polkadot, using parachains to potentially provide liquidities for people on EOS, on Ripple, and on other chains. So they're having a parachains of their own blockchains on Polkadot. I think that is one the most interesting part. I think Polkadot in general is a more of a finance-focused blockchain. And I want to name specifically another blockchain that I've been taking a look at, which is the Flow blockchain provided by Dapper Labs. I am intrigued by their concept. I am intrigued by their use cases. We are in the middle of an NFT craze right now. Everybody is talking about cars, digital arts, digital sports, digital fashion, digital everything. And I think Flow blockchain will be probably a developer-focused blockchain that are going to bridge the traditional world that we see, the physical world that we see right now, with the blockchain, the crypto world. So I am very pumped about this one, and we are going to support, from the Ankr side. This is of course not a show, but I really did my research. And I really love what they're doing, especially with the gaming industry, with sports industry, and this is after a few days of research and got me really excited.
Yeah, that is an interesting premise when you consider DeFi and bridging the real world with the digital world. Like, it's real fascinating.
Yeah,
versus just digital NFTs.
Yeah. Being in the space about 4 years really got me think, how can we actually connect to the mass? How can we actually connect to the 7 billion people in the world, right? You got to have a real use case. You cannot just lock yourself up in this crypto cage, having those exchanges and trade forever, right? I think in order for this space to really grow, we got to have interactions with the physical goods. And I think non-fungible token will be the number one use case when it comes to those, right? I think we are in a world right now where there's a blurry line between physical things and digital things. For example, a good use case that I can think of is social media, right? People are posting photos right now, but what if we make everybody an avatar, and you're able to wear digital fashion on top of your avatar, and you're able to trade freely your digital goods with other people, and potentially can boost e-commerce activities on the crypto side of things. So I think that will be something I really look forward to in the coming years.
Yeah, well, when you say and you talk about a financial chain versus NFTs, and it is interesting because as much as people are very focused and worried about their money and worried about growing that and getting more and whatever you want to say, it's like your money is driving everyone's lives, right? But it's not necessarily something you want to think about every single day. And so if that's the place in the area that crypto is driving, sure, it's a very important industry and a very big industry, but the road to mass adoption probably leads down something else, like you're saying. And I think sports could be the interesting one, because sports and gaming are actually interwoven, right? There's people that watch like the NBA, but then they also play like NBA 2K or whatever they're playing now, right?
Yeah.
Like, so
yeah,
it's like
those
that
sports memorabilia. Yep.
I could see that being a big thing.
I also see a bridge between DeFi and traditional finance. I think DeFi would be really helpful. The yield farming, the concept of yield farming, can be really helpful in for personal finance going forward. I think apps like Mint or NerdWallet are going to adopt those technologies pretty soon, and I'm personally very excited.
Yeah, that's a big one. And you know what's exciting about that? It's like I'll give the example of being in this space for years, you start to you think that the pattern is set in stone. Like, someone comes in through Bitcoin and then they discover all these other things that might be kind of interesting. And that could be from an investment standpoint. It could be just from their perspective. They think Ethereum is what they need to be in, or whatever it is, but they come in through Bitcoin and then they go down the line. It's interesting when you start to talk about DeFi, that may be someone's entrance into crypto, not Bitcoin. and they may get into crypto without even knowing they're in crypto, and they may use Mint and be using DeFi projects or products to acquire more yield versus putting their money in their bank, getting 0.05%. They want 8% on that dollar. They want 23% on that dollar. But we're sort of in this infancy stage of like there's a trust problem before we get there. But fascinating to hear. Yeah, I look forward to that day too. I wish I could open up Mint and start accessing crypto.
I wanna mention a little bit about what happened on the Asian market 5 years ago. There was actually a wave of P2P finance, peer-to-peer finance in Asia about circa 2015. What happened was people started to pool money together, right? They started to have their own funds, and then they still started to lend money to other people. So what happened is that it worked pretty well in the beginning, and then people started to exit scam, and the whole system started to collapse. And at some point, the amount of money lost in this entire wave was close to the billions. And I think DeFi is definitely a remedy to those pain points, and it started to pick back up.
Yeah, I actually didn't know that. I mean, it's something that could kill an industry, right? When the one or two headlines that come out do kind of scare people away. And I think some people potentially thought that would be the case for cryptocurrency. And I think we are still digging out of that hole in 2017 that was created. But I think we're like the infrastructure and the true people that were passionate about the space continued to build. And so like people like yourself, that were out there saying there's a better way to do this, so I'm actually interested in, from where you guys started, you talked about a team of 70 people, how did you guys, going from like person 5 to like 25, like looking at product, looking at marketing, looking at everything, where did you decide to hire and why?
Okay. Can we go back even before that? I'd like to start at idea. Had an idea.
Yeah. Had an idea. Yeah, we did pivot many times in the early days, right? In the very beginning, we wanted to become somewhat a trustless computing with privacy, right? And then we started to look at Web3 infrastructure, right? And and then we started to expand our service offerings, right? From just staking nodes to developer APIs. And now, this fully decentralized staking protocol based on Ethereum and focused on Ethereum 2.0, right? I think we really learned a lot over the past years, right? Especially on the management side of the things. How do we manage the team? We really still try to keep this team very close and family-like. When we had this startup idea, it was 4 of us, 3 of us, 4 of us in the early days, and we were working in a co-working space, and we just pulled all-nighters for sure, and studying different white papers from different projects. Back then, 2016, 2017, there weren't many ready to go products, to be honest with you.
Yep.
So we were doing a lot of research. We met a lot of scholars in universities to validate our ideas. And then later on, we did experience a plateau at some point in terms of hiring, because we're not able to find the right talents in the place that we want. So we decided, so I personally decided to go out there because I wanted to meet some people. Like I said, I've been to Turkey, been to Netherlands, Spain. Probably I went to like 15 to 20 countries in 2019.
Wow.
And what happens is that we had this Ankr global meetup program where we were doing airdrops for every meetups, about $10,000 or $5,000 to $10,000 worth of Ankr tokens back then. And we were able to educate the community members about our product offering. Back then, we just started our Web3 services, right? So we had 5 to 10 nodes ready to go. We wanted to get more people to use our product. So we went to 15 countries. And then along the way, I really got to know a lot of those people. Very fun, very experienced, very knowledgeable. And I think at the end of the day, what I learned is you cannot force somebody to like crypto. I had a lot of very close friends. I've been, shilling them to go into crypto like for a very long time, and then said, okay, I'm not interested. I like what I do. I'm in VC. I'm in traditional finance. I'm in banking. I'm in tech. I'm in healthcare. I don't care. So if you're really trying to convert somebody into crypto, it's really hard. Instead, we really like to take someone that is very passionate about crypto, like, that token is really cool. I think I like that design. So we can talk about that all night. We can talk over the phone. My phone number is actually open to my Slack channel, my Telegram channel, and sometimes my phone number is open to all of my team members, 24/7. So they can call me every time to discuss stuff that they like.
That's so great. We have the same kind of feel where it's just, you have to be kind of crazy passionate about the space, like you're saying, where it's just like ideating, coming up with stuff nonstop. And that's the type of, and the space I think does a good job of converting people, but there's maybe not as big of a pool out there. But once someone kind of gets the bug a little bit and they become obsessed, it's, you can tell.
And I think, just from my perspective, I think over the past 3 years, I have been defending this space. There's definitely ups and downs in the space. When Bitcoin was up, everybody thought, this blockchain industry is revolutionary. When Bitcoin was down, everybody thought, the space was a scam. So I've been personally defending this industry for the past 3 years. And I don't care what people say. This is what I do, and I love what I'm doing. And I am building meaningful products that will help people, turn their attention to crypto potentially. So I think, looking back, I really had some pressure when people are saying what I do is meaningless. And every time I was able to prove them wrong. So this is one thing I am very proud of, up until now. Yeah.
Well, that's great. Congrats on the success. And, I think everyone in this space has had to kind of lean on each other a little bit. And, we're all in the same boat of having friends and family and other people asking, what is the space about? This is like, I heard it's just for like drug money and laundering, and you're just, at some point you're like, man, I can't get you like all the way across the fence, right? I'll get someone that we kind of call crypto curious. Like I could get that person to really understand, how we're making a difference, and how like Web.3, like you're saying, like how this is the next piece of the internet and of global connectivity and trustlessness and money, because that's all money really is trust, right? It's a replacement for a barter and trade. It's saying, you know what, I can go to the grocery store and I could give you this money and you'll give me the lettuce that you grew, right? And it's trust. So that piece to it is now done immediately, interchangeably, without a middleman. I mean, that's going to disrupt the world for the next 30 years, right? And I think we're just kind of getting on the cusp of that. You guys are building something really cool. I think that is going to enable that large scale difference to happen and making it simple for people that are non-technical. So,
what's funny about this conversation is that if this weren't going to completely dominate the world, there wouldn't be this many smart people in the space right now. Everyone would have run away and said, this is a scam, and they would have done something else by now. We have these streams every week and we meet some of the smartest people we've ever met. and it's inspiring, and the amount of development going on is incredible. And when you consider, like, I went to a brewery yesterday. We were sitting outside with a bunch of people, and we're talking about crypto, and the perspective was, can I make some money on Bitcoin? Like, no one's talking about the smart people building the next leg of the internet. And in fact, mainstream media isn't even talking about Bitcoin right now. We were posting that last weekend. The news volume was higher 6 months ago because
I think that is because right now everybody is just focusing on the election results.
and COVID. Yep, it's a cross between it's COVID and election, and all of the progress of Bitcoin over the last little bit, and all this, like projects like yours, even Ethereum, like the volume from mainstream media is down, and that says two things: we're either early in an expansion like process here, or it's or it's very early in a rally, because we're not mooning.
I think it's very similar to 2016 right now. Like what we're having right now is very similar to late 2016, early 2017. It's because there are some wave of people, especially college students. They started to look at Bitcoin. Sophomores, juniors, they were studying at home. They were searching on the internet what Bitcoin is. I mean, I'm pretty sure at this point everybody had heard of what Bitcoin is. They had a concept of what Bitcoin is, but they just haven't tried any. So it's not a dose that everybody has to take. So I've heard from some people. I think there was one tweet a couple of weeks ago saying the first bull run will make you rich, the second bull run will make you think, and then the third bull run will make you build. So I think that is the pattern. That pattern is actually resonate with me pretty well.
And thinking about that, like individually, so for each person that gets involved, like the first bull run for each of them, or just saying in general for like the space, because it's like coming in like 2015, it's like this is kind of like the third one that like I kind of feel like I'm experiencing. But for some other people, it's like they've experienced a couple other ones, and maybe it was on a smaller level. But I like that line.
Yeah. What do you think of the election in general? I think
here we go.
I don't want to be too political in this stream, but I just want to hear like what election has affected crypto market, and what do you foresee in the future? I feel like this is becoming my podcast.
Well, you can ask as many questions you want. Yeah, and I think, looking at the election, and it was the longest election cycle, and COVID, and I mean, it's just this is different for everyone this time.
Yep.
We had a record voter turnout. Whether or not you think some votes were legal and some weren't, doesn't matter. Record voter turnout. People are paying attention, and I think for the U.S. in general, which I think a lot of people in the world look towards to say, is this experiment working?
Yeah.
I think that's where we tend to kind of continue to lead. But I think, I'll kind of take it from Tom Lee, who is at Fund Strat. He's a pretty interesting guy that's on CNBC all the time. And, they asked him, they're like, hey, what do you think happens? And he said, if Biden wins, it's going to be bullish. He goes, if Trump wins, maybe very bullish. And if it's a contested election, it'll be somewhat bullish. Right. And it's coming
very volatile.
Yes, very volatile, and we've just injected so much cash into the system. There's so much cash that we've injected, and it's not just to the people, and it's to the businesses. And I don't know, but I do know that we probably need to figure this COVID thing out here in America, because there are still a lot of businesses that are hurting, right? And retail and restaurants and travel. I mean, to say that like airline travel is still down 75%, 8-9 months later, you can only last for so long. There's only so much honey in the cupboard before you have to start replenishing it. And I think we're going to start hitting that teetering point. And so I think, it's probably better to have someone in office that wants to work together with people and is more of kind of like from a leadership perspective. Like as a leader, in my eyes, I played a lot of sports, so it's always about coaches. And it's like, if there's a problem on the field or the problem within the organization, the coach always takes the blame. And that's what a good coach does, is they take the pressure off the players around them. And so I think that's the type of person that I would like to see in office. But that's why I think America's great. We have a couple years of someone, then a couple of years of someone else that comes and, throws a wrench in it and thinks about it a different way. And then we're like, okay, maybe we didn't like that one. We'll go to the other one, and I think that's, the best part about it. So we'll get through it. So long-winded answer of
the reason the reason why I want to brought this up a little bit is like, why it's 2020 and why haven't we brought digital experience to the voting processes? And I was simply astonished, right? What if we could build something with blockchain, with the entire voting system that there's even no dispute in the first place about voter fraud, right? So
Chandler, I have some questions around this one here. So, because I've been thinking a lot about what you just said too, and you've seen it. Yeah. We've seen mentions all over Twitter, like, why is voting not on the blockchain? What is going on? I thought about that, and it's like you end up having a couple challenges there. It's like you're dealing with a physical nation in a physical place in the world, and for example, like if the United States government knew that any other country was on the same blockchain that their voting system was on, they just wouldn't use it. And so we get into this thing of like, is this now a closed blockchain that's kind of database-like, very, very closed? What happens if one party has more nodes than another party? What happens?
Yeah, we can have like a bipartisan validator program potentially. To monitor those votes. I don't know, but
identity.
I just feel like I just feel like the presidential elections happens every 4 years, and a lot of people, especially the government, don't want to put a lot of money and research and resources into this. And what I had envisioned over the past few days is that what if you have a generic voting system? It can be semi-centralized, can be semi-decentralized, and this will be useful for not only for the Senate, the Congress, the Senate, the presidential election, but also local government, like your mayorship, your state Congress, stuff like that. It will be useful in a lot of ways. And I hope somebody in the space can build that.
To layer something really important on top of this discussion, it's like one of the fundamental pieces of this is identity. And that would mean that like your driver's license, your whatever public ID, your passport, all of your documents that relate to your identification would need to be on this same system, because otherwise you end up having a duplicate identity system for voting. And now one of the main issues that the thing that, say, Donald Trump is bringing up right now is voter fraud, and who knows what shape that takes. But that ultimately boils down to identity. That ultimately boils down to, did this person who is alive in this location with this political affiliation vote? And so, but that's no different than having a driver's license. So It's like, so we end up having this discussion around voting, but it's very, very broad. And we get into this whole, like, what else goes on here? What about your marriage license or your birth certificate? Or, it really goes far. And then it crosses over with things like passports into this international system. So I think there's a lot of opportunity, but probably a lot of steps to solve, and all sorts of, like, every nation's going to be concerned about their own, like, sovereignty with voting, like not any other third parties in.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think with this identity, you can potentially eliminate the visa process, and potentially going to a borderless world. But with a pandemic going on, this is not really close to happening right now. Pretty sad. I've been missing travel a lot. I hope, hopefully I can get back to travel, to the road pretty soon.
Yeah, very important to just get out there. And like you said, you learned so much in that year traveling to all those countries and meeting people in the industry. And so I think that's an important thing. So we do have a couple questions here, and we'll maybe answer those as we're coming up to our time here. They're kind of all over the place. Some are a little general. Folks, if you're asking stuff like, where do you see something in the next 5 years? Like, you literally, like, you're not essentially planning for 6 years from now. I mean, maybe vision. But one here is that I can maybe kind of pan down a little bit is, what it says, what makes you believe your project can compete? I think a better question would be, where do you guys see your competitive advantage in what you're doing? And obviously, every industry has competitors and competition is good. But where are you guys focused as far as compared to where you kind of see the market outside of you?
Yeah, first of all, I want to say that I welcome competitions. I think competition makes it better and stronger. But I think, when you're talking about specific product, right, let's talk about Ethereum 2.0 staking. Right? I think we've done a lot more research than our competitors. Some of our competitors are focusing on the centralized management services. Of course, there's no staking liquidity granted to the Ethereum 2.0 tokens, and there are some decentralized staking pools, but at the same time, they are not really fully decentralized, and they don't have a governance system that in place in order to ensure all the fairness from the community. And at the same time, they also don't have a marketplace like us, which provides a provider ecosystem for the entire Ethereum 2.0 staking program. So I think, comparing to our competitor in this Ethereum 2.0 space, I think we are definitely, we have more experience in Web3 infrastructure. We've had experience of hosting for close to 4,000 people and north of 100 enterprise clients. We do have experiences in running those infrastructure, at the Ethereum 2.0 clients. We are definitely more creative in terms of designing our tokenomics. We do have a relatively large community, and along with some of our partners. So I think, that is what I think of, when it comes to the competitiveness of our staker program, right? For Ankr, I think, we are, of course, we do have people everywhere. So, we're running sales, we're running developer programs in a lot of the regions, right? We're not just focusing in the US. We do have a lot of China market focus and European market focus. So I think with that, I still think that Ankr is going to sell well in the future. With PayPal going into the space, with Square going into the space, I think there is going to be a demand for more Web3 infrastructures in the future. And I don't think Amazon Web Service will be ready for this. Of course, they're focusing. I mean, I've been seeing their website pretty often, pretty frequently, and they are building this consortium blockchains for enterprise. But I think, at the end of the day, there will be a chance or opportunity for enterprise to even adopt a fully decentralized technology, and I really think so. Yes.
No, great answer. And yeah, I think keeping your eye on the kind of incumbent larger corporation that's out there that potentially could be a disruptor. I think the thing we kind of always talk about on this stream is, the competitive advantage that you have as a startup is your ability to make quick decisions and speed. And, there's absolutely no reason that people like Uber should exist when, you've got the mobility of like Ford and the bankroll of like Hyundai and all these other large companies. Like, they just shouldn't exist, but they do. And you can grow a really big company because of like how nimble you can be.
Yep.
We'll do one more here because I know we're coming up on the hour. Mr. Nightwolf had a lot of questions. When we'll be able to stake our Ankr to generate more Ankr? Not even sure if this is like a roadmap thing or you guys are on this.
Oh yeah. Actually, I wanna talk a little bit about that. So I want to touch a little bit on the token economics of Staker. Right now, we estimate the initial staking rewards for Ethereum 2.0 is around 20 to 25%, based on the total staked on the network. Of course, that staking reward percentage or that APY is going to drop significantly over the course of 24 months, and eventually converging to somewhere around 6 to 8%. This is my model. I've seen a lot of models out there, but this is my model. And we essentially have a marketplace where providers are helping the Ethereum owners to run nodes. So we grant 80%, around 80%. Of course, this is also tunable through the governance, right? We grant 80% to the Ethereum owners, and then we have 20% left. And then in that 20% left, half of them, which is 10%, is granted to the providers, to the infrastructure providers, to the node providers. And the rest of the 10% is actually granted to the Ankr stakers. So effectively, we have with every Ethereum coming into the protocol, to the Staker protocol, we effectively have a network revenue, and we want to be able to share this revenue with the community. Of course, you would have to utilize the Staker platform in order to stake. So that is one way we're able to generate Ankr tokens for you. Of course, we're actually able to buy Ankr tokens, with a Ethereum, and then redistribute those Ankr tokens back to the Ankr stakers. This is our current design. It is, like I said, it is our initial design that we want to put out there, and then have the governance, the community to run this protocol. Right. So currently we already have a very large amount of tokens in circulations. So our token is owned by close to 100,000 addresses. I don't know. Wow. Yeah, I think it's 20,000, 30,000. I haven't checked Etherscan, but I think it's of course owned by a lot of people right now. So they are able to make their voice about what they think of this protocol will go. Of course, a minimal amount is definitely required to be a governor on this protocol. So to make a proposal, you would have to have a certain amount of Ankr tokens. But of course, more details will come soon once the governance launches.
Awesome. Well, thank you, sir. Thanks for answering those. We're hitting up in the hour. John, unless you got anything else, I think we could probably wrap it up, man. This was awesome, Chandler. I really appreciate you coming on. It was fun getting to know you a little bit, and hopefully we can do it. Hopefully you could start traveling a little bit and come in and hang out.
Hopefully we can meet in person in LA, or you can come up to NorCal. We can have lunch at some point. And I've been thinking about getting to LA, and I haven't been to LA many times. Love to visit, and very excited about this space in general moving forward, and really appreciate the time you guys have given me the opportunity to speak about what I've been up to. So yeah.
Thank you, sir. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening. Thanks. This was Chandler Song from Ankr. Chandler, we'll chat with you backstage, my man.
Sure. Thank you, Joe and John.